What is up, maniacs? Surprise, surprise. We are back for Sound and Pound. It is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. I am your host, as always, Drake Riggs, not joined by Alex Behunin today. He is off on a cruise down, in the Gulf of Mexico, around Louisiana, Florida area. He's doing his own thing. So today, we are joined by a very special guest, the man behind the mask, if you will. Ghost himself is here. He's our loyal moderator. He's been with me for years now. He's been behind the scenes, but we are bringing him on today to recap the madness from Noche UFC inside the big ball inside of Las Vegas and talk about some things coming up. Mostly answer your questions today after that, because again, we do have an off week before we go to Paris for UFC Paris next weekend. But in the meantime, you guys, we are here hanging out with you. Make sure you get in all your comments, concerns, and likes and all that good stuff. Subscribe, you know the drill. But Ghost, my man, here we are for the first time co-hosting. You've been behind the scenes helping me out all these years. I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate you being here. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes. It's going to be a good old time, you guys. I'm sure you're all very excited for this and maybe caught off guard because we teased it a little bit in some Discord chats, and on Twitter, maybe a little bit we teased it, but not too much. So we are just here doing our thing. Let's just see what the people are getting up to right now in the comments right away. Rain is blown away. Yep, no way. You know it. There we go. Waiting for, he's got no puns though. No pun today, as I forgot to turn the music off the loop. So there we go. But no pun today. It's Maniacal that Saudi Arabia and the UFC paid for this event, and they mistook Terence Crawford as Kendrick Lamar. We'll get into that. That is definitely a good mention right out the gate, Kendrick.
Oh, man.
From Rain. Yes, Ghost twice in a week. I know Ghost is getting around. He's getting around.
Man, I'm getting around.
Yep, getting all the hot spots. So of course we had to have him here today. But all right, we're good. So like I told Ghost before we went on, you guys, we're gonna do just like our first two segments, because again, we're going into a break week, so we're pretty much gonna do Q&A after that. So get in all your comments as per usual. We're gonna still star them and all that good stuff and get to you, but just in a timely manner. So let's start off with the maniacal moment, Ghost. My goodness, there's a lot to choose from from things that happened this past weekend, whether it's in an actual fight or outside of a fight. I have two in mind that are both in cage stuff, but I guess let's just start off with what are your maniacal moments, and I guess general thoughts on the Sphere event. They made it work pretty decently, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. So my maniacal moment stems back from 2 weeks ago. So I think you know what it is.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's the guy Cody Steele was supposed to fight and then pulled out of 12 fights in the past, and he pulled out twice against
14
Cody
total now, I think. It was his 14th.
14 total fights where he pulled out, and then he pulled out twice against Cody.
In the same day.
In the same day. So I think the craziest part here is the scouts and the matchmakers not knowing that of this guy's previous history. Like, how do you not? Why would you schedule him with Cody, who's genuinely really talented, and you put him with a guy that's known for pulling out of fights and scheduling him with somebody like Cody? But I mean, I think it seems on brand with McMahon's lack of self-awareness.
A little bit. Yeah, I kind of missed the Tapology page on that one. Because, yeah, what is it? Otoni, I think he goes on, pretty much blows his entire shot at getting in the UFC because Dana absolutely hates that kind of thing. Doesn't work out for him there. And then Cody Steele. What kind of annoys me most about that is that just sign him. Just sign him off. That, he's going to beat whoever they put in front of him, most likely.
Yeah, for sure.
On the last show of the season. But that is a good shout. We didn't get to that one. So, yeah, because that was last Tuesday. So it would have been after the show. So that does fit in. That fits into our slot here. But yeah, crazy stuff. But yeah, what did you think about the Sphere event? Like, do you think did you like how it looked in there, or did it meet your expectations?
I mean, I think we have to be there to
right
to really appreciate it. But
Yeah.
to me, it just seemed like lots of bells and whistles.
Yes.
Yeah, and for the prelims, I didn't think their use of the space was
No.
that good. I mean, they had a Google images of a Bud Light sponsor. That was funny.
Yeah, I know. I think they really tried to build it up, which they did. Like fight by fight, it did change. Like by the time we got to Aldana versus Dumont, it was looking pretty sick. I thought it looked pretty cool actually by that point. But yeah, it's just like when you really think about it from the TV's perspective, right? Like I'm sure being there, it was way cooler. Like, and we'll have to hear from Alex when he is back. But yeah, it's like it's just looks like a big screen background on the TV, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was and I was surprised too. I said on Twitter that like I just don't know why you wouldn't maximize this whole thing like from the very beginning. Like sure, I get the idea of drawing people in to be like, oh, what's it going to look like for the pay-per-view? But if there was a time where Dana would have really wanted to milk this thing, he would have made the whole show a pay-per-view. So I was like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
missed that.
Oh man, just lack of self-awareness again.
There it is. There it is, always coming up. But for my maniacal moments, Ghost, I mean, I'm going in the fights a little bit. We talked about it, or at least I did with some of the other boys in the Nuzzy Rips Discord in our MMA channel. But or was it somewhere else? I might be getting confused all over the place. But Zellhuber versus Rivich. Oh no, it was on my personal stream on my YouTube. I think James asked about that or somebody. Maybe it was Hype. I don't remember these things, but that fight, absolutely insane, bonkers stuff, fight of the year caliber, was really, really close and competitive before that third round, which I mean, not that it wasn't not competitive either. All good,
man.
all good.
Get in the comments. Start something.
All good, my man. But yeah, Zellhuber and Ribovich in the third round got very crazy, right? It looked like I still have no idea, absolutely no idea how Zellhuber survived the shots that he was taking to rally back and, you know, not just not go down, but actually land some good shots on Ribovich there, who kind of got tired, but still ends up pulling off the victory. I personally didn't score it for him. I thought that he lost the first two rounds, but there's zero robbery whatsoever in that. We're not even going to go there. Crazy, crazy fight. Absolutely madness. That was wild. What did you think about that one, Ghost?
Oh, that fight was absolutely fantastic. Like even on a technical level, it was brilliant. Like Zellhuber using his jab, going backwards. He really established that early.
Yeah.
And Ribovich, I talked about this on PYN, but he has a tendency to square up. And one of the funniest habits that he has is he goes to the body late when he's absolutely gassed.
Right.
And that's exactly what he did. So I thought that was great. Like just the fight was phenomenal. Like I think I'd have to write like a really big article on it, like to really study it. But yeah, like could not recommend it enough. Like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely chaotic. Like it had that perfect blend of both of very technical before getting just out of nowhere crazy. You know, like it was just absurd that third round. But yeah, Zellhuber, like you said, he was pretty much getting pressured the whole fight, but still just, you know, working the jab and what he does best right there off the back foot. So that was a very good fight, very fun. And then my other maniacal moment mention here, Ghost, is like, how do we not bring up Irina Aldana's cut? Holy fucking shit. This is,
oh my gosh.
I think the new worst cut I've ever seen in my life in an MMA fight.
Next to Hobo Cops.
Oh yeah, that one is really bad too. Those are both, oh my god. But like
this one might be worse.
Dude, it makes me a little bit upset that like they didn't stop it between rounds because her face is in half, man. Poor Irina Aldana. Oh my god. Like there's a comparison that I'm not gonna make on here because it's like we can talk about it afterwards, but yeah, like Irina Aldana, just we know that she has the biggest heart. She's so incredibly tough. Too much for her own good, probably, because again, she was walking forward, walking down Norma Dumont, probably. I mean, for most of this entire fight, which was surprising to see Norma not go for any takedowns. I think that was the big thing we expected, was her to not try and go to war with Irina, but she didn't. She did very well, won every round. And yeah, pretty much split her head in half. But it was absolutely disgusting. That cannot feel good today as she's all stitched up and better, but like, that was nasty, man. Is that the new worst? Do you think that overtops RoboCops?
It might. It really might. The thing I really liked about this was, well, except for the cut, obviously.
Yes.
But the thing I really liked about this was the fact that Aldana actually made Norma Dumont work. So
Right.
one of my analyst friends, shout out to Fenyo X Sky, make sure you follow him.
Here we go.
He always says that Norma's really smug about everything. So like whenever she throws like a feint or shows a feint, like instead of like capitalizing on the reaction, she'll just mean mug.
That is
And
true.
for Aldana, her ring cutting is absolutely horrible, but she caused Norma to actually work at a higher pace, which we got to see a lot of good looks from Norma, which we don't normally do. So
Yeah.
that's really good. That's really positive. And you know me, I'm pretty cynical about these things.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, it kind of showed some good development for Norma in that regard. Like she's always been pretty well rounded, right? And like her fight IQ, I think, is
Mhm.
one of the highest in the division, just considering how she approaches fights. I don't think she fought the smartest, in this fight because it would have been smart to just try and take Irina to the ground and beat her there because she very well could have, I think, but still worked out. So like that's the thing. Similar to like the Cannoneer fight that we saw recently with what was it, Kaio? I'm blanking on his name for some reason, but yeah, he went out there and struck Cannoneer and did well at it, even though he didn't need to. So, kind of similar to that in a regard. But let's just touch on kind of the top two fights though, real quick though, Ghost, because we saw and new again for Valentina, which I'm sure you loved that. I'm sure you
Oh,
loved
for
to see
sure.
that. The most exciting title fight of the year. Speaking of high fight IQs, though, it was a smart idea for Valentina to continue to go to that well with her wrestling, which she had success in. Both of the first two fights was really kind of the X factor of those fights. And again, that is all she was pretty much looking to do in this one. But she did look sharp on the feet and fast as always. Reactive, great counters, as we know Valentina has. But it was just that top pressure and wrestling and all that good stuff. Barring the submission attempts, the good efforts from Alexa to go for all the submissions she did. I'm curious to see exactly how many she went for. I haven't looked that up. But Valentina gets it done, pitches a shutout. Do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what was disappointing was that Alexa didn't threaten to stand up at all. She
Right.
didn't use like in the second fight. She did a really good job using wall walks because we've talked about this before in like almost every podcast. But getting taken down is not the end of the world.
Right.
It's getting back up
Mhm.
because like there's many ways to do that, like getting your butterfly hooks in, heisting up, or using the wall walk. Alexa was like so committed to using submissions that even when she did get a submission, she didn't threaten to stand up at all from it. Like when she got that when she was going for that triangle, like
Mhm.
Valentina gave her the space, but instead of working back up, she went back into closed guard.
Yeah. Yeah. There were definitely some moments too, yeah, where she could have just like kicked off, some Sakezawa style, Saryoshima push offs there. Of course, maybe not to the face because it would have been illegal, but could have definitely got some good bursts and openings there. But yeah, that was definitely disappointing. Um, and then the main event, like, what did you think of that one? Because honestly, people didn't like it entertainment wise, but I didn't think it was that bad because there was kind of that tension in terms of like, oh goodness, can O'Malley land that shot? But as the fight went on, he got tired from getting worn on the whole time. And Marab, he just couldn't find kind of his rhythm or range in that one. Were you surprised to see O'Malley struggle as much as he did with his striking? Obviously, the grappling wasn't a surprise, but I was a little bit surprised to see the him struggle to find his rhythm.
Surprised? I mean, I don't think so because I actually thought O'Malley had a good game plan coming in.
Hmm.
I mean, you saw it. It was to throw the right straight to the body, and
Yeah.
when he did that, he was scoring on Marab, and then until Marab threw the left hook to the head, which had him stop, and he started throwing right straights to the head, and that allowed Marab to duck under and get takedowns. So when I saw him like headhunting, I knew this was going to be a long night for him because that's exactly what Marab wants. And I actually like the game plan Marab came with. Like everything revolved around him getting to the fence. Like
Hmm.
it was about whether he's circling around it or pushing O'Malley towards it and getting those outside trips, getting Turks within the when O'Malley's trying to get up and looking for wrist rides. I thought I thought it was a really good performance by Marab. I mean, entertainment wise, I'm sure like probably the casual fan doesn't appreciate it, but
Yeah.
I can see the like Marab's Marab's process, which was really nice to like to watch for me at least. But
Mhm.
I can understand why like people wouldn't like that fight.
Right. Yeah, including Dana White. Is very upset that his plan didn't work out. Didn't even credit Marab in the post fight, which was just wonderfully
Or
hilarious.
Valentino.
Neither of them. Yep, he was a little sour on that, understandably. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of that was a weird main event though overall, because thank you, James, shouting out the real MVP, or what would it be, the LVP, least valuable player, Herb fucking Dean here, telling Marab to stop. Marab doing the right thing and breaking because he's listening to the ref. Then Sean goes after him while the round is still going. Somehow it's Marab's fault. Man, this was a bad night for Herb, man. Like, even
Herb.
in rounds 4 and 5, when he's telling him to work, whether it's on the ground or standing up, bro, what are you talking about, man? Like, I don't know if he was incentivized, or I'm not gonna throw that out there, but like, dude, he was like abnormally bad. He's very bad all the time, but in the main event here, it was weird. I guess, the corner stuff at the beginning was justified. That's a stupid fucking rule. First of all, like, who cares? Get over it. That's Marab having kind of a moment, a mental lapse is what I'd call it. But and then the kissing thing or whatever. It was weird. It was weird.
Weird all around, man.
Yeah, so thank you for pointing that out, James, because yeah, Herb had a rough time there.
And to add, like, if you're gonna say stop, like, call timeout first.
Yeah, exactly. Actually make it a point there. Like, I don't
Dude,
even
and
know.
he's telling Marab to work while he's dropping ground and pound and open guard.
So that's like one of my biggest MMA pet peeves, dude. I hate when refs do that. I can't stand it. Like, are you just ignoring what's happening? Like, there's no
Well,
explanation.
when he's trying to get a hook in along the fence, he's like, "Work, Marab."
Yeah, like,
Like, what are you doing?
you mean okay, sure. Sure, he's not, say he's not, whatever. Yeah. That shit drives me crazy. But thankfully, got through without any issues. Yeah, everybody knows how I feel about Herb. So yeah.
Just classic Herb, man. Classic
seriously. Seriously. Jimmy, of course, yeah, throwing out for him. Simple Aldana's gruesome cut. Alex posted it and it was yes. Yes, it's so, man. I'm like, we've had the movie club going for 48 weeks now. This is episode 47, pretty much all these. I've seen plenty of horror films in my days, all these things. I'm not like big about it. I don't enjoy like the gory stuff. I like Saw, I saw the whole franchise up until some of the recent ones, but I don't enjoy them for the gore. So I'm pretty intolerant to it, I guess. But there have been very few times where I see a cut or something in MMA and like scrolling through the feed and I'm like, I don't want to see that ever again. This was one of those moments, right? Where the Stitch video for Aldana, I was like, I
Oh
can't share
gosh,
that.
yeah, I could not see that.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
see it. That, yeah. Okay. I'll tell you the thing that I was thinking of, but what it compared to, because speaking of the gore stuff, I don't know if you guys, this is a big throwback, but the Tombstone fail video, if you know what that is, don't look it up. I'll explain it to you offline. But
Yeah, in the Discord.
that's what it looks like. And if you get that reference, then props to you,
man.
but not good. Not good. The worst thing ever. So yeah, that was insane, man. It almost makes me like want her to stop. Just like retire, Arian. You're good. You're fine. Like, I love you, but no, let's not.
I mean, you got a great fight out of Norma Dumont.
Yes,
enough, right?
exactly. I know, and I'm sure Alex is so happy about it. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Synchro. He's like, we got ghosts in the house, but he's freaking out. There we go. And we got some comments from Barton, our man, Barton Spackle, Chris.
The man.
He thought the
Chipotle handle.
Chipotle hands. Thought the spear production was well done. Dana White Spanish speaking was very wild. Yes. Dude, those were creepy. Did you see the AI
Yeah,
things?
I did see that. That was weird, man. Did you see Norma Dumont's
No,
English AI one? She posted it on Instagram. Like it just randomly showed up on my feed. It was really weird. Like it's
Wow.
her speaking in fluent English.
So strange, dude. Why did they do that? Why wouldn't it be Spanish? That's weird. Yeah, I don't like the holograms, not one bit. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Jin says, can Maniacal Moment be the fact that Dana promised a cash prize for all the Easter eggs in the main event, but never delivered? Well, did they get found though, Jin? I didn't see anything. I mean, I don't know how you would spot any fucking thing in that screen. Like, so props to anyone who tried, but I haven't seen any reports of them being counted out or anything or what they were. So I want to say he didn't deliver yet. I'll give him the devil's advocate there, Jin. But yeah, I didn't see anything. Oh, and 4 ounces to freedom here. Going back to your shout for a Maniacal Moment, Ghost, and he's starting to think the matchmakers don't really know how the fighters they're booking don't know the fighters they're booking for TWCS. Yeah, they might not do too much research
Or scouting.
or the scouting. Yeah, very true. My goodness. All right, we'll put a hold on that there for now. Well, real quick before we go to underrated moment though, Ghost, I guess we could just kind of throw it on into there, but like, let's give some love and a shout out to Diego Lopez, right? I'm
Oh
curious
yeah,
to
for
hear what
sure.
you thought about that fight and his performance, because again, this was one we were all really looking forward to happening, finally, fingers crossed, nothing crazy, short notice, but dude, he's getting so fast with his hands and just put it on Brian early. Brian Ortega purely survived that out of his own toughness, which we know he always has, but then still almost gets finished a couple times there. Um, Wild. What have you thought of Diego Lopez progressing as a fighter, and what'd you think of this win?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, Ortega getting punished on the double jab was pretty funny, but
Yep.
I kind of saw this coming because Ortega isn't somebody who actively looks for takedowns, and Diego Lopez is somebody who is going to scramble from bottom.
Right.
So I kind of saw a striking match like this, and for Lopez, there's I'm kind of torn with him because he doesn't really do anything interesting on the feet, but he does have bricks in his hands,
Yes.
and he has a good eye for counters. So there's that. So I'm not really sure what to make of him yet. Because I mean, this is a really good win,
Hmm.
but I mean, he didn't really show me anything clever on the feet, which I guess I mean he won, but
Right.
I mean, we
He
can't
didn't.
really
You don't have to
we
be
can't
super clever against Ortega.
yeah, especially on the feet.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. On the ground, a little bit more threatening there, of course, and we saw
But
some brief glimpses.
yeah, but the counter that he hit, that was pretty impressive because it was a fade back into right straight into left hook, which
Mhm.
hit Ortega twice.
Dude,
So
I saw somebody say on Twitter, they were like, "Dude, Diego actually woke him up with the second shot." I was like, "Kind of looks like it."
it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah, God, yeah, he smacked him hard there and clean. It was crazy, but I love Diego Lopez. I love watching him fight. I'm excited to see him. I mean, geez, if he's not fighting for the title next, it's like got to be Volkanovski, which he kind of teased the interim thing yesterday, which is super silly and not going to happen. But Diego's right there, so um, isn't it just ridiculous though how like I'm happy for him and stuff, but it's ridiculous how goes on this run and he's very clearly surpassed Mopsar who beat him. Like,
Oh man, the rankings are just a mess right now.
they are absolutely messy, but yeah, it's all good fun. But yeah, as for other underrated moments though, Ghost, I could just kind of put down Norma's actual performance, which we already touched on. So yeah, props to her there. Shout outs to her. Good win. Is there anybody you want to highlight for your kind of underrated
Yeah,
moments
for
from the
sure.
week?
Josh Van versus Chires. I mean, that was the original fight of the night before Zellhuber Rubix.
Right.
So, and Josh Van, I'm kind of torn on this because he really shouldn't be fighting after getting knocked out 63 days earlier. But yeah, he went to the like when he started going to the body and like tagging Zellhuber or no, tagging Chires
Hmm.
and then getting hit by the spinning back fist, just absolutely crazy. And going for the takedown at the end, really smart by him. So yeah, I think it was patented van in at the beginning of the first round where he's getting chewed up by the outside kicking game, because that's pretty much his
It's
biggest
weakness
weakness.
right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, not weakness, but like he can't deal with it just because of how he needs to get into rhythm before actually fighting,
Right.
for actually finding his for actually finding his body shots. But yeah, I thought that was fantastic. That was a fantastic fight.
Yeah. Good shout there, of course, Josh Van. Big we're all big fans of him around here. So looking forward to seeing what is next. But yeah, good point about the the turnaround time for sure. That's always something. Hype is here. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Hype giving the
What is
shout
up,
to
hype?
Ghost. Our man. We love to see Hype in town here on Sound and Pound. My guy. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up then, I think, for the underrated moment, you guys. And we're just going to open it up. We've made good time here. We're at the halfway point of the 26 minutes here. We're still going to do movie club today, guys. Don't think we're not. Just because Alex is in here, we're going to double dip on The Departed. So get ready for that. But until we get there, let's see what you guys want to know about, what you want to talk about. Let's see. We got Jimmy here asking, what is the best method as a young fighter? Go to different gyms and train with different coaches, or stay at one gym with a single coach? Oof. So this is one of those questions, Ghost, where like I think we've addressed it a couple of times in the past, but it's always like very dependent on the fighter. Like maybe so much their willingness to learn or ignore it. I know you're probably going to mention Mackenzie Dern in this question. What would you say?
Wasn't even thinking about that.
You're welcome, guys.
Well, for someone starting out, I would actually suggest testing out the waters, like testing out different gyms, because you're trying to find your style, you're trying to
Right.
find like who you are. I mean, even with decorated fighters, I think it's a good idea. Like, think about it like if you're trying to learn something on YouTube, would you just stick to one channel, or would you try to look at other channels to see what other perspectives you're looking for? So like even with decorated fighters, I think it's still good to go around different gyms to learn different approaches, because you typically see fighters plateau like if
Mm-hmm.
nothing else changes in their camps. But again, on the other hand, I mean it's a good thing to have like a dedicated team that knows how you click, what your habits are. I mean, another good thing about having a team like that is you can travel with them
Mm,
to these other places and then take what you guys resonate with.
right.
So yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, different way of answering it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Rather than like somebody, because a lot of people, what does happen is when you start out MMA, you're just so new to everything and you find that comfort zone of, all right, this is my spot. I should probably just, you get kind of stuck there, right? And that happens to so many people rather than bouncing around, looking early, which does make sense because, again, MMA is an expensive sport to get into and figure things out like that. So that can be a trick in itself. And
Mhm.
just sometimes harder to do than in, let's say, like another sport where, I mean, it's kind of that thought too. If you're going to compare to another sport, you get drafted and stuck with a fucking team, like you don't have a
Right,
choice.
right.
Like, so that's kind of just ingrained, I think, in our societal mentality with training for sports of any kind. So with MMA, it's just way easier to do that too.
But then
Um,
to add, like when I used to work as an intern for an NFL team, like these guys that are from that team, they would go to different places to train on the off season. So there's
right.
that too. So I mean, I think you're right. It's dependent on who the fighter is, but it's also good to see like how other places are training each other. Because if you just get stuck in doing the same thing over and over again, I mean, your habits are gonna get exploited. You're never gonna change, and we get Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah, there it is. Roundabout. Full circle, baby.
Full
There we go.
circle.
Nicely done. That was perfect. But yes, I do agree. And I will say that is one. It would have been more of a problem if he had been more active in the last half of his career. But I did always wish, kind of after the Henry fight, I was like, all right, maybe I'd like to see Dominic, go somewhere else just to add to his game. Like he's still great. He's all good as he is, but you know, he's definitely been stuck with Del Fiero his whole career, which has worked out. But let's mix it up. Let's add. There's so many perspectives. You can never learn too much, especially in this sport. So There you have it. But we got Synchro here says, I don't think anybody has asked Ghost this, but what was your first analysis piece? I find it hard to believe that WMA Today, shout outs, throwback, was really your first time, like you said, on Protect Your Neck. Oh, he's calling you out, Ghost.
Okay, so yeah, shamefully, it really was that that Misha Tate versus Marion Renault Phantom Punch breakdown. I mean,
Damn.
dude, you got to start somewhere. I mean,
Yep.
the good thing about that fight was that the ideas were simple, so I could like pick them out easily. And then, I mean, Drake, I know you're not gonna like this, but the standard of women's MMA is not the same as MMA. So
Oh, you're even hitting me with that. You're hitting me
yeah,
with the...
it's not the same standard. But I mean, I will say that like if something is good, it's good. Like it doesn't matter what gender it is.
Right.
But that is the truth, and I had to start somewhere, and I noticed that I can pick out habits and tendencies and patterns in women's MMA fights faster than I can with the men. And then eventually I got up with regular MMA. But sorry. No, I got up with the men's, and I can figure out more like complex patterns where they're building off of stuff, so yeah, shamefully it was my first
Wow.
time.
I'm going to take pride in that. I appreciate that. That warms my heart. Okay. So
I
God,
might have
that
taken
feels
shots at Drake, but
I know it's double there, double-edged sword. But man, yeah, big throwback. Holy shit, that was so. It feels like forever ago, dude. My goodness. But yeah, that should still hopefully be on YouTube, you guys,
yeah,
if
it
you want to
is.
check it out. There you go. Yeah, on the Scraps channel. All right, Barton here says, as you know, I lack knowledge of MMA. I like how you're always so admitted about this, Barton. But you've been here for a while now, so you got to be learning. Okay, give yourself some credit, Barton. Since I've only been watching and been a fan for a year. How does one get to the point like you two where you can understand what's happening in a fight? Well, again, this is like repetition, right? And just watching over time, and like Ghost just said right there, start somewhere that you can understand better. And the more you do it and work on it, you're going to be able to just understand things better. It's like school. You're going to school and you're learning before you take the test, right? And then you can ace the test, kind of like that.
Exactly.
So I think that's pretty plain and simple, Barton. But I feel like you've been a fan for longer than a year, right, Ghost? He's been around for a while now. Come on, Barton. He's just
Yeah,
playing
he's
this
been around.
playing this casual card on us. Dude, I swear it's definitely been like 2 years at
Yeah,
least.
so can I add to your answer? Because
Of course, of
for
course.
me, like I know it's different for everybody, but for me it's a lot of tape study. Like, and I'm gonna drop a big bombshell on you right now. I've
Okay.
only really been into MMA since 2018. I know, crazy, right?
Wow.
So
All right.
I actually haven't been doing this that long, but like Drake said, like watching it, getting your reps, but to add, consuming a lot of content that you like helps, because it can challenge your views, and that's what I try to do. I try to find people in the space I respect. I try to interact with them, and if they have different opinions, I can formulate some like the different opinions that can challenge my own, and then I can formulate better opinions from that. So that would be one of my suggestions for you, Barton, even though you've
Yeah.
been doing this for more than a year.
I know that he's lying to us. He's just playing it up now. But yeah, no, I fully agree. And that's the thing, like Ghost and I have talked about it plenty. Me and some of the other guys in the chat too, Jimmy, James, I'm sure, like, no, we have not agreed on everything over the years. Not
No.
at all. Not at all. But we still love each other. We still are able to communicate respectfully and help each other find different viewpoints and grow and learn from there. So it is, again, it all goes back to perspective. So there you go, Barton. Just interact and kind of spread the viewpoints, as long as they're not toxic and, making you question yourself, I guess. You want to be able to feel like you're growing. If you're
Right.
consuming content and not feeling like you're taking something from it, stop fucking watching it, or
Yeah.
stop going there.
Right.
That's a
Exactly.
big thing.
Or
So,
copying and pasting his comments over and over again, chat.
yeah, don't do that.
Don't
Also,
do.
don't do
Yeah.
that. All right, we got James here saying, if you make content or analysis, is it fair game for criticism? If you post something, are all comments fair game? Absolutely. Well, I'm going to say 95% or 99%. I would say what's not fair is just like the low hanging fruit, right? Oh, I'm going to attack this person for their identity and absolutely nothing of what they just shared with us, right? Like that's always fucking stupid and just trolling and people being pieces of shit, right? But if you are creating content or putting something out there, yeah, you're open to criticism and you should expect that. And you should honestly want that. You don't want everything to be perfect, sunshine, rainbows, flowers, and all that stuff. And I've always said this too throughout my whole career. Like, I admittedly don't get much criticism or haven't gotten much criticism about like being a shitty writer or whatnot. And I don't think I'm the best or anything or all that great, but it doesn't, people don't tell me I'm bad that often. So, or that they're upset with something. If they're more upset with the context of like me saying Mayra Bueno Silva and Macy J. Sounds a good fight, that's fine because that's an opinion. That's not the actual, work itself. That's the opinion portion. But either way, if you're going public with anything, you're open to criticism of any kind. Is it right if it's not about that stuff though? I don't think so. I think that's fucked up and great. Like people will say shit about my appearance or whatever every now and then just for being on camera because they don't agree with what I say. Fuck those people. But otherwise, it's all fair game, I say, Ghost.
Yeah, I completely agree. It is fair game, and I mainly get criticism because of the stuff I say on Twitter. So I mean, that's fair. I mean, it's fair, but yeah, I think it's fair game. If you post anything on the internet, good or bad, people have the right to comment and say bad things or good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the criticizing analysis part, like James is mentioning,
Mm-hmm.
um, I yes, I do, but I don't do it publicly. Like if anything, I'll probably DM that person because the thing is, even if it's wrong, the person still took the time to study that, and
Right.
I'm not gonna like publicly like get into a spat with somebody about like small technical nuances that
Yeah.
nobody really cares about in the long run. So like if I don't like analysis, I'm probably not gonna share it or like talk about it. Like
That's
that
like a
even
thing
goes,
where you
yeah.
can kind of see like why do you feel that way and kind of go from there, just kind of
Right,
curious,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So, and then that kind of helps you guys both learn better. And, because again, it's all about the opinion and assessment. So then you get better that way rather than just being like, nope, you're wrong, bro. Don't do that. Don't be
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
the fucking people who think they're right about everything and maybe shills or maybe not. I'm not going to call anybody out, but you know what I'm talking about.
Well, even if you are right, even if you like do bring out points, like just don't be an ass about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the worst type of thing.
hmm
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm an ass about it on Twitter sometimes, but not about analysis.
Yes, about other snarky
Yeah.
business. All right, let's see. We got here. Oh, Rio's bringing up, yeah, for what underrated moment here. He mentions Josh Van winning on 60
Oh
days
yeah.
after getting knocked out by Charles Johnson. For him to come back in performance like that is insane and maniacal. Yeah, definitely fitting. Yeah, we got the
Yeah.
shouts to Josh Van. So good deal, Rio. And then he goes on to say, "Ooh, what is your animation
Mm.
process like? How long
Nice,
does it
nice.
take to animate? And do you do the voiceover? Voiceover is all AI for Ghost. That's what he
Yeah, that's
uses
all
it for."
AI, man. So the animation process is actually really simple. So I use the app called Flip a Clip, and what I do is I import the footage that I want to copy on Flip a Clip. Then once that footage is imported, I trace the footage for each frame. So that process of tracing it's called rotoscoping. So if you look
Hmm.
at that's if you want to learn more about it, just Google rotoscoping because I didn't learn that like that term until like way late until I was way into animation because there's some tricks that you can learn from rotoscoping that like not many people know like ratios and proportions, but I'm digressing. But once I've finished each frame, I remove the original footage. So that's what you see when I put the animation up on like on all the platforms, like on Twitter, on YouTube. Like it's just the original footage taken out, and then you just see my tracing and my
Mhm.
doodles. So you don't
Mm.
actually need drawing skills or talent to do it, just time management and patience.
Yes, and the ability to do the process, really.
Yeah.
Well, bro, it's like I don't remember if you were probably here on the week that we did Scanner Darkly in the movie club. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That whole
Yes, I
movie was
remember
done
that.
rotoscoped,
Yeah. Like you
which
can
is
see, like you
insane.
can tell when it's rotoscope because there's a warble. Like you can
Yeah.
see the people vibrating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of just like the look of it. Yeah.
hmm
So it's definitely unique and shout
Yeah.
outs to that movie for
Oh
sure.
yeah,
But
and in terms of the voiceover, so
mhm.
if you guys like, I encourage anybody to try this, but I use 11 Labs, so because it's actually harder to it's when you're doing like an analytical piece or a voiceover, it's actually hard to time it with the footage itself. So
Yeah.
I type it out in 11 labs and then I go from there because the analysis isn't actually that hard. It's just getting the timings right.
Right. Yeah, no, that is definitely, trust me, all the editing I've done for interviews and stuff, that can be definitely one of the biggest
Oh yeah,
challenges.
for
So
sure.
yeah, but there you go, Rio. Now watch, you're gonna have Rio making up some crazy animations by the end of the week. Jin asking, what would be the ramifications if the UFC were to have a multi-network deal, like how the NFL is on different cable networks? They could do it now since the roster has 700 fighters. Interesting question there, Jin. My goodness. I mean, yeah, 700. They're loaded. Things are oversaturated. I mean, you got to think about this though. With the NFL, even if they have 700 fighters, there is still no comparison whatsoever because we're talking about 32 teams, like what, 14-ish games, whatever the math is, a week. These are all happening at like the same time on Sundays, right? We have the separate timings for the Monday night, the Thursday night, all that stuff. I don't know if that's the best comparison to use, but I know what you mean with the multi-network deal, which sounds like, from what we've speculated, is that if UFC goes to Netflix, right, where most things will be, that would maybe be the home. In theory, this is just kind of what we've talked about, Alex and I. Fight nights on Netflix or something, and then they still do the pay-per-views on ESPN pay-per-view, on ESPN Plus pay-per-view, however that shit works. That would just be like, okay, we're going to a different spot every weekend, but you're not conflicting or going at the same time like with NFL because they have all these different games with all the different teams. So the ramifications of it, I think, would just be maybe confusion and limiting the audience a little bit because you're on multiple spots. But at the same time, Ghost, like, Netflix is huge and everyone would see that. So
That's
I don't
true.
know. I don't know how
Mhm.
bad it hurts. What do you think?
Well, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I really think it would hurt the product. It dilute
Okay.
it even more.
Yeah.
So I've talked to Val Dwar and Jesse about this on Cagecraft or from Cagecraft,
Yeah.
but I've interacted with them about this. But what Val said would be the network would just compete to see who can pay the UFC more money. Nothing actually changes except fans have to pay for different platforms for that privilege, which do you
Is
really want
annoying.
to be paying for ESPN Plus, Netflix? I mean, I do that, but
Yeah. That's the thing.
but
That's what they're lucky with. If they do that, is like most people have that already
mhm.
in that case.
or
But if
like
it's somewhere
but they'd have
else,
to add like NBC, Prime Video.
right.
Like, do you really want to be subscribing to all that nonsense?
I know,
And
especially with the
yeah,
price of the pay-per-views already.
yeah, and Val also said that if I remember correctly, he said that it create less competition in a sense because none of the multiple networks would have the opportunity to hold fight cards. It's just gonna be multiple networks instead of just one. So
Yeah.
that's not. I don't think that that helps the product even more. And like this is something Jesse told me, but it actually serves to devalue the overall product just because it fractionalizes and divides all of the fighters. Because
Mm,
you're gonna have some fighters fighting on Netflix, you're gonna have those same fighters fighting on ESPN Plus, then maybe Prime Video one of these days,
yeah.
and then, I mean, this is not a lie, but the product is pretty bad right now. So it seems like a really stupid thing to do to like distribute like what the NFL does.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. It's it's very interesting too because then that gets into a tricky situation where after so much time, like, that could be a contractual, not obligation, maybe, but yeah, I don't have that segment today. But where, like, if people see the benefits of being on a different network, you have all these options. If it's better to be somewhere than the other place, people can end up being like, no, I'm not going to fucking fight on Netflix or wherever because it's better over on Prime or yada yada. That could be something that ends up working into contracts and could maybe make an uneven balance of things, right? Like, we look at boxing, right, which is
Hmm.
great at the top. People are
Right,
doing
exactly.
great at the top, but the guys that aren't at the top, really not. It's
Hmm.
really spread out in that uneven balance to where that might have to do with all of the distribution that boxing has as is, which again is great to see all the fights and there's no limitations there. but at the same time, in the overall aspect, really isn't awesome. So it's interesting. Yeah, we'll see how that all shakes out for
Yeah,
sure.
that's a good point because I'd never looked at it that way. Where like fighters might not want to fight on Netflix, or they might
Yeah,
not want to fight on NBC or
right.
ABC. Like, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, there could be different reasons that they have, and yeah, if it gets a part of the contracts, then it gets super messy. So
Right.
we will see how that goes. But Jimmy says you mentioned on protect your neck, Ghost Zellhuber's tendency to get caught after jabbing. What can he do to fix that? Oh, here we go. What can he
Oh,
do?
that's a great question. So let's work backwards to why Zellhuber actually gets hit. I mean, the reason why he's vulnerable after his double jab is because he has a tendency to get all his weight on the lead foot. And when I talk about getting somebody's weight on the lead foot, it means that their head, their knee, and their ankle are lined up. So that's good if you want to step off and angle out, or you want to step up and pivot out. But what Zellhuber doesn't do is he doesn't do either of those things. He actually gets stuck in that position. So for him, I would suggest after the second jab, I would suggest a level change, like any level change,
Mm,
like straight down. He doesn't have to go for a takedown, just a level change and then change positions. And then after the second jab, he can go like if the guy does throw the right hand, he can go right under it. So he can build from there. But yeah, I think that's a good question because not many people understand why he actually gets hit, but he does have that tendency, like Jimmy said.
hmm. Yeah, for sure. And there's still plenty of time for old Daniel to work on that. So we'll
Yeah.
see how the next fight looks for him if he can make these adjustments. But we'll have to wait and see for that as we continue along with some Noche recap here. Synchro bringing up another great question, I think, asking should O'Malley have front kicked earlier instead of punching the body? So
Ooh.
the reason I don't think that he did was probably because of the fear of the takedown. Now, correct me if I'm wrong there, Ghost, but maybe he just was like, all right, I'm already down, and kind of Hail Mary shot at the end there. Noticed it worked and he started to throw it a bit more there in the very final minute. But obviously, punching the body, like you said, that was the plan throughout. You could see that. But I think he was maybe being just a little cautious by not going to it early.
hmm I think that's an interesting question because, as you know, O'Malley's game, if we want to boil it down, it's front kicks to the body, change stances, and then try to hit the open side counter when the opponent rushes in. Like
Mm-hmm.
he uses the front kick to the body to get the opponents coming towards him. So I think this is really interesting because in terms of front kicks to the body early, I mean, front kicks, they when they're mistimed, like you're going to be out of position and you're going to
Yeah.
be crossing your feet. So early, I don't think it's a good idea. But it worked really well at the end of the fight. Against wrestlers, generally front kicks are good because it's not really a single leg if you think about it. You're catching the kick at the end of the opponent's foot. And
Right.
usually when you get a single leg, it's knee deep,
Mm-hmm.
not at the end of the foot. So there's a lot of like
You're hoping
it's
to trip
yeah,
essentially if you catch it.
yeah, exactly. You're hoping to trip when you catch it, and like that's a different skill than wrestling because that's more like Sanda and Muay Thai, where like the moment you catch the front kick or parry it, you're like what you said, you're going for a sweep.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think good examples of like late front kicks to the body or early front kicks to the body getting punished would be Dan Hooker and Gamrot round
Mm-hmm.
2 or round 1 where Dan Hooker throws the front kick like really early and then gets taken down off of it. But then you see in round 2 where Gamrot starts to slow down and his reactions aren't as great. Hooker's landing the front kick really well. And then this is probably going to get me a lot of hate, but McGregor versus Habib round 3,
Oh
he's
gosh.
throwing
I know where you're
Connor's
going.
Connor's backing him up and throwing the open side front kick to Habib, and Habib has no answers for it. So those are things to look at. But in terms of punching to the body, I think it was a great idea to punch to the body early because again I said earlier the right straight prevents the takedown because it's right in line where Marab's trying to shoot, especially
Mhm.
since he's trying to shoot head inside. And but the reason why he went away from that was because he punished it with left hook. So, I mean, the more that O'Malley tries to open up, Marab is throwing the left hook counter off of it. So, I think that's more a testament to Marab's game planning than anything. And then there's another problem there. The person who so like with any fight, the person who can establish the threats is the one that's going to gain the initiatives in the fight.
Mhm.
And then the moment that O'Malley couldn't establish the threat of his right straight to the body, like it seemed like everything else seemed to fall apart. So so yeah, that's my long-winded answer for that question.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Yeah,
Too
no, I
much
agree.
analysis.
Yes, I know we're getting deep now. Look what you've done, Synchro. A good question though, yeah, because like in hindsight, it's like worked for him late, but I don't know, would it have mattered? Yeah, that's kind of the point of it. So good deal, good deal. But we'll move along here. As Barton's back with a question asking, is it good to be an impressionable fan in MA? Because I often have an opinion and I start to change that opinion when I listen to your podcast or other content. Should I take more of a hard line stance? um, I think that depends on what you're consuming, right? Because like, appreciate that first of all, Barton. We're here to help and all that good stuff. But then, yeah, my mind first goes Ghost when he says something like this is, the commentary.
Oh
If the
yeah.
commentary's bad and you're
Oh.
just like new and impressionable,
Mhm.
it's not gonna be good in most cases.
Yeah, you're gonna buy into it. You're gonna believe all the hyperbole.
You're gonna not know how to score a fight properly.
I mean, I
Like,
still don't know how to score a fight.
but like, yeah, they'll say these things and make people be like, oh, well, that's just happened. That's why I should be there. Yeah, it's again, it depends on what you're looking at, what you're taking in, Barton, entirely, because I do think it is good. Like we talked about earlier, it's good to have that open mind and be willing to accept or, look in as many different alleys for opinions and content analysis, whatever it may be, as possible, because you want all these perspectives, because the more the merrier. The more you can learn, the more range. It is limitless in this sport, and so the more that there is to take in and digest, the better. You don't want to just close yourself off to a spot where you're like, I'm right no matter what, or this is the way, like find that thing and stick to it. Unless that's what makes you happy, though. At the same time, like, I'm not going to tell you not to be happy with what you're doing if that's what you like. But I do think, in a general sense, if you want to grow as a fan or a viewer or whatever it is, that's just a fucking human. Yeah, be open to
Mhm.
every perspective possible. I think that's pretty simple, but that's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah, and to add to Drake, I mean, you can be a hardline. You can take the hardliner stance, but then again, people who live and die on opinions are typically the stupid ones, and they don't act in a way that makes me want to come back. If you
Right.
think about it, I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but that's usually what happens when people are taking their stance way too seriously. They
It's
take,
almost like
yeah,
politics a little
yeah,
bit,
exactly, yeah. Like if you're not, you should be willing to you should be like I said earlier, you should be willing to have your ideas challenged so you can learn more stuff. But like people who just like take the hardliner stance, I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be a long, long day listening to that guy.
Yeah, because you're never gonna be right 100% of the time. So fucking realize that.
I think the important thing is like as a fan is just like try to build interesting opinions and try to form them with from content you like.
Yeah, yeah, simple enough, easy as that. So I think you're doing a good job, Barton. So keep it up, my man. Thank you for hanging out with us as always. But I will move along here to Rain saying, what did you guys think of Tim Welch talking to Rob and the excessive coaching call from Herb Dean? Mark Goddard said the same thing to Tim at 292. Really? I don't remember that. Maybe briefly now that you mention it. But yeah, I know that they were mentioning that on the broadcast when it was happening, but I think the idea of excessive coaching is really hilarious to me, Ghost. Like, I think that's like, who cares, man? Like, there's a crowd behind you, right?
Right.
Like, fucking, it's the same thing. It's just because it's the coach who's real close right there. Like, I think that's a dumb rule, because really that's just a matter of if you listen to it or not. Like, terrible rule. Herb, I guess, doing the right thing in that case, but it was really confusing. It was weird. Um, yeah, I'm just
Just
gonna leave
weird.
it. It's a dumb rule. Get rid of that. Who cares?
Yeah, so I think what he's referring to is like do you remember when Tim had this YouTube video where he's talking. He has a close up where he's going, you gotta go now, Aljo, and then you
Hmm.
see Sean pull his open side counter.
Oh
So
yeah,
I think that's what he's referring
throwing him
to.
off, trying
Yeah.
to confuse him.
Uh-huh.
But
But
again, you're in front of a fucking 20,000 people crowd.
yeah, like it shouldn't matter. But it,
Yeah.
but I think like to go against you a little bit, but I think it probably is against the rule if Mark Goddard had to do it the
Yeah.
fight before or 2 fights ago, because I remember watching that. I remember watching that. Like you can hear Mark Goddard say, "Hey, stop that."
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that does sound very, briefly familiar. Again, it was more blatant and weird with Herb here, but
yeah.
yeah, just
But yeah, I mean,
strange
if
rule.
two different refs are well, one ref and the other one doing
A
weird
guy
things.
pretending to be a ref. It's almost Halloween, you know?
Yeah. If they're telling them to stop, it probably is against the rule, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm not questioning that part. I'll believe that it is definitely a rule, but it's a stupid one. So we'll leave it at that. Rain says, "What should Grasso have done when she got taken down? It seems like she was setting up her selling out for subs instead of getting up." Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of already answered that a little bit just with our assessment
I mean,
of
I
it.
can go more in
Ghost.
depth about that
You can.
if you
Let's
want.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Let's do it.
So, first of all, look to wall walk because as much of the hyperbole behind Valentina is like, as much as people say she's the perfect technician, there's nothing she doesn't do well. Uh, she's not good at slowing people down on the wall. I mean, she's good at getting takedowns, but when people wall walk against her, she's actually not good at slowing that down. And the other thing is, she's not good at taking the back and finishing. So what she does well is she stays in close guard and then she tries to stack pass or not stack pass. She tries to knee cut pass into the crucifix position. So turning your back is actually a good thing against Valentina and then controlling her risk. And more specifically, so for Grosso, I mean, when she gets the butterfly hooks in, she needs to threaten to get up like right away. Like use the hip heist. When you do that, the top player has to commit to like especially Valentina, she has to commit keeping Grosso down, and that creates openings for submission. So a good example of this type of game would be Gordon Ryan. So the secret to his bottom game is actually he threatens a lot of stand-ups, and when he threatens his stand-ups, his opponents on top have to try to drag him back down, and that gives him the openings for the transitions, and that's where he catches the subs. So that's my spiel on that, my long analysis on that fight.
Beautiful, beautiful. We love it. But there you go. There you go, Rain. Yes. So we will look to see what is next for Grasso and if she can take some notes here. But until then, I love this question from Jin because it's very just kind of very simply worded. But he's like, how can Josh Van or how can a fighter like Josh Van stop getting hit?
Good question, Jin. Yeah, so the snarky answer would be just stop fighting. Like
Yeah,
if you don't
yeah,
want to
there
get
you
hit
go. The
anymore,
easy answer, retire.
yeah, don't like if you don't want to get hit anymore, don't fight anymore.
Yep.
But that's the facetious answer. But everyone everybody needs to understand this. Like even the best defensive savants, they're gonna get hit at one point. I mean, fighting is extremely volatile, and for Van specifically, I would say for him to stop getting hit is he needs to see the tactics he's falling for, minimize those tactics, and then do those tactics against his future opponents. So mainly his defense is moving back. So for him, I would say he can benefit from using like the hand check. So like using both arms like what DC used to do, grabbing his opponent's hands cuz the defense for that is moving backwards. So if he if the opponent moves towards you, you can elbow on the side that he moves towards you, and if he doesn't do anything, you can stab him with lots of body shots, which Van wants to do in the first place. And then the other thing I'd add for Van to stop getting hit would be I think rear leg pivots, because that would decrease his chances of getting hit while pressuring. So, like to summarize, I'd say hand checking because it prevents the straight hitting from his opponents, and the rear leg pivot to make his opponent rush. But that actually doesn't fix his problems of being susceptible to the outside kicking game
Right,
like
right.
early and open space. So, I mean, he's got to deal with that. He's got to deal with those things first.
Yeah. We got to work our way up. So there's a foundation there,
Yes,
foundation to build
exactly.
up. But all right, there we go, Jin, and we're almost caught up here, which is perfect, Ghost, because then we can get to the movie club.
Oh
And
yeah, for
I
sure.
know you're excited for the
I'm very
snarkiness we're
excited.
about to get to, and the movie club as well. But here we go. 4 Outs to Freedom, though, said was just about to say the best example when you were talking about the editing was a Scanner Darkly, excuse me. That movie came out when I first learned how to do roto, and then felt terrible looking at my work due to the movie. Yeah, yeah, it was definitely a feat. They pulled off a feat with that one, right, Ghost?
Dude, that must have taken ages to do because
Uh,
after 50 frames, I'm already tired.
yeah, for that's just like loads, uncountless amounts. So crazy, but I understand that feeling for sure. 4 ounce.
All right, let me answer this one.
All right,
So,
let's give it
you
to you.
read it first, but
All right, you
I'll
guys.
yeah.
So we'll close out here before we get to the movie club. We got a question from Coach Greg asking, why do you, he's referencing Ghost there, Miguel Class, Ryan Wagner, and Blaine Henry act like elitist gatekeepers? I'm an analyst trying my best, yet you guys just ignore me. MMA analysis is for everyone. All right,
All
I'll let
right.
you take it
All
away.
right. Yes, Coach Greg, we are elitist gatekeepers. We try to share content from smaller accounts and share each other's stuff because we don't want anybody else to grow, even the smaller contents. Dude, are you for real, man? Like, here's the thing. If analysis is good, it's good. It's going to get shared. People are going to watch it. People are going to study it. Okay? If it's not good, which I'm not saying yours isn't, they aren't going to like it and they aren't going to share it. I mean, it's pretty simple. But
Yeah.
yes, we are elitist gatekeepers in that way.
But just to clarify, I mean, hey, that's the really the best answer you can give in that kind of situation is, hey, let your numbers speak for themselves, I guess. And I don't know what you're doing, Coach Greg, over with your stuff or
Hey
whatever. And
man,
you are right.
best of luck to you, man.
Yeah. MMA analysis is for everyone indeed. But yeah, if some people like something more than others, hey, don't hate the player, hate the game, my man. So we can leave it at that. All right, perfect segue, I guess, because now we will go to the Dralex Movie Club, you guys, and it is the Dralex Movie Club with Ghost this time
With
this
Ghost.
week
Drake
because
Ghost.
yep, the Dre Ghost Movie
The
Club,
Drake.
indeed. While Alex is away, we are going to talk about The Departed, which I saw for the first time last night. And Ghost had seen it before, but he refreshed himself on it, got all up to date. My goodness. I get it. I know why you guys were upset. I know why you were upset. This movie was fucking incredible, dude. It was so goddamn good. I'm just gonna say right out the gate, like Jack Nicholson, incredible as he always is, phenomenal. I mean, everybody again played their role so absolutely perfectly in this film. The way that they interacted, Ghost, like Alec Baldwin with pretty much everybody.
Oh yeah.
Like when him and Mark Wahlberg would interact, it's just like fucking,
Oh
oh my
man.
god, it's so funny, so Boston, so everything. Leo, just incredible as always. I thought Vera Farmiga was great. Matt Damon, literally everybody in this movie was phenomenal, played their part
Masterpiece.
perfectly. It was yeah, it was stunning. I was surprised. I never realized it was a Martin Scorsese film. You know, I'm a big fan of his as well, but I never knew that he actually did this one. And
I mean,
two
he
hours,
shows, right?
yeah, 2.5 hour film. Doesn't feel like it at all. You kind of breezing through. Um, my goodness. And you know, I had a feeling, this is spoiler talk, this is an old movie, right? But like
Hmm.
the theme of it is the rattiness and how you can't
Hmm.
trust a single goddamn
Right.
person in the movie, except for like maybe Vera Farmiga's character is maybe the only most
Maybe the only.
truthful character, and even then, she's being a therapist. So it's like the whole theme of that. And I had a feeling that the twist was going to come at the end, where like Digman, Mark Wahlberg's character, who was just the most ridiculous character in the movie for sure, that he was also a rat. Like I had a feeling there, but Yeah, I mean, there's so much to love about this. It's so entertaining. It's so fascinating. The contrast of the roles that Matt Damon and Leo are in, particular with the undercover cop and then the rat inside. And oh, it's just great, dude. I mean, what did you think about it watching it again?
Oh man, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, enjoyed watching it again. I mean, I've watched this multiple times. It's just that I haven't seen it in a while, but
Mm,
absolutely brilliant. The plot, the acting. I mean, I thought everything of it was awesome. The thing I really enjoyed about this is
first, oh, seriously, I know, guys, I
is
know.
the thing I really enjoyed about this is the game of cat and mouse. Like I really like the
Yeah.
idea of like two deep cover operatives trying to take each other down
Oh,
and
so
not
good.
knowing about each other. Like I thought that was a great plot line.
No,
Like
yeah,
and the
that
yeah,
was fun. Oh,
and the way they set up like Costigan's cover, like when he's bred by he's bred by Jack Nicholson's character
uh-huh.
to like grow up and become like a police mole.
Yeah,
It's I thought that was brilliant. And
it's
then like
insane.
and then yeah, yeah, and the way the deep cover for Leonardo DiCaprio's character, I thought that was great too. Like he was in the academy and then he just ends up he ends up being an informant for the mob. It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. And he hates it the whole time. He hates it the
Absolutely
whole
hates
time.
it. And like you can see it's taking a toll on it at the middle
Oh
of the
yeah.
movie when he has to like when Mark Wahlberg and him like start fighting over it. Just
Yes, yes.
I thought that was brilliant.
But like that's so relatable. Like I feel like that's how most people would be in that situation. You know, it's like, dude, he's gonna fucking any day now.
Hmm. See, that's an
So
interesting dynamic cuz the way what's his name? The way Sullivan, the one that's in the
yeah.
police department, he doesn't crack at all just because like
No.
that's what he was trained for.
Yeah.
And for Leonardo DiCaprio's character, like he was trained to go to the police academy, not to be a mole, not to be a
Yeah.
deep cover operative.
Yeah. Oh
Oh
man, it
man.
was insane. Yeah, I'd really love that element too. And it's like, I was really bummed too. Like you're rooting kind of for for Leo's character the whole
Yeah,
time,
exactly.
and it's just like, oh, the
Oh,
tension is so high at the end, and then you're
like he's
like,
finally gonna win.
I know, finally he's gonna get out of here.
Hmm.
And I was really curious how they would kind of deal with that. Like he scrubbed him and like, oh, and then he
Hmm.
called the one guy that knew him. I was like, dude, that was good. That was brilliant. And then it just kind of
Oh
snowballs
yeah,
at the
that was
very end.
brilliant.
It's
What did you
like,
think about what did you think about the boss like his boss dying like and then revealing to like Dingham and Sullivan that who the mole was. I thought that was perfect. Like
mm,
the way that they because there's only two people in the world that knew that
right.
Leonardo's character was the mole, and for one guy to die and then for Sullivan to say that he's the mole and then Dingham finding out, I thought
Yeah.
that was beautifully set up.
Yeah, no. Oh my goodness. And then the citizen envelope kind of giving it away. Like,
Oh
ah.
yeah.
So every little piece. Yeah, this movie was just
Hmm.
perfectly crafted. It was incredible
Yeah,
from the
now I got a
beginning.
question for you because this is a mystery
Okay.
for most people. But
Okay.
do you think do you think that Dingham got the letter like the like the letter after? Do you
After
think he also
Sullivan?
yeah after Sullivan?
Let
Because
me
remember
see.
he kills
I think he had to.
yeah because we see that's something we don't know, right? Because
Right. Ambiguous.
he just has a hunch that Sullivan is the mole because he accused Queenan of being the guy.
Right. I think there's no other way. I think you nailed it right there. There's no other way he would have known.
Uh
Yeah, wow,
huh.
bro, that's trippy. Yeah, because he's on the leave after that. Once it
Right.
ends, he's like, all right, so he knows, and then
Because the
yeah,
only other
that's right.
person that knows is the psychiatrist, right?
Yep, yep, and she was only connected to both of them in that kind of way,
Yeah.
which I thought was great. I was waiting for this, Ghost. I don't know if maybe there were no strong hints, but I was waiting for it to be Leo's baby.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, come
Oh
on.
man, that would have been perfect.
I know, but there was no like actual reveal there. It was like,
Mhm.
damn.
They kept it ambiguous, which I guess is like on
I
brand
th-
for Martin, right?
yeah, yeah, for sure. But I think how she ignores him at kind of the funeral is kind of the sign there. I
Like
think
that
the
he
funeral
knows,
scene, yeah.
that she knows, yeah.
Uh-huh. That's what I'm gonna think. But incredible, for sure. My God, it was so good. And Rio asking, what did you guys think of the plot twist that Costello was an FBI informant? Did that blow your mind? Actually, that didn't like blow my mind as much. I was just like, no way. It wasn't the craziest, I think, twist of the movie, but yeah, it was definitely like, of course he was.
Yeah. I have
Um,
a different answer. I mean,
okay.
I thought like first time seeing it, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But a criminal mastermind in charge of a large syndicate becoming an FBI informant to grow his business. That sounds like a role James Spader can play on NBC.
Yeah.
Probably the Blacklist.
Wait, that sounds a lot like the Blacklist. Seriously. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that when he goes out, when Costello goes out, gets killed by Sullivan, that was a great scene too.
And then
Like,
the random gunfire at the end of it.
yep. Like, oh, all right, there's that.
Yeah. Jump
Rio
scare,
asked, was
right?
Dignum Ghost's favorite character?
Yeah, but not because of his quick wit and
Yeah.
sarcastic sense of humor.
I know his comebacks were just on point.
Yeah, but mainly just because of the way Wahlberg played him. Like I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Even though he's sarcastic and he jokes around a lot, you can tell that he's got a sense of duty and
Mhm,
like he's got a clear goal in mind. I mean, the ending scene in particular was my favorite because like
mhm.
you can like literally see like how angry he is when he shoots Sullivan. Like he know he knows he knows who's responsible for all that death.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, this movie was insane. I know you guys were right to be mad at me. It was fair. It was so good. And I knew it was so good. It was just one of those that, like, slipped through, but I am very happy to have seen it. Phenomenal. They don't make movies like this anymore, Ghost,
No, they
right?
really
Like,
don't.
wow. God. Like, Martin's definitely made great movies since this one, but like, fuck, dude. Like, even watching American Gangster during the movie club and like other ones like that, we don't get
Oh yeah,
too many
yeah.
of these like classic
Hmm.
gangster
Now, would you
movies.
consider this iconic, as Rio often asks?
Oh boy, yeah, good point. I think based off of the cast alone, yes. How they put it together, also yes. But like, this thing was loaded, man. Like, with who was in it and then just
Mhm.
what it actually is.
And
So
just the
good.
performances from everybody, just
They all
incredible.
crushed it. They all crushed it. It was, yeah, it was really good. I definitely would say this is an iconic movie of definitely like the 2000s, and for this genre for sure.
Yeah.
Super, super good. Phenomenal stuff.
Mhm.
But oh my goodness. Well, we'll wrap it up there. We can wrap it up there on that note. Is Rio asking next movie club? Well, we're not gonna advance without Alex. So we will just wrap it up there. I'm sure that he's got plenty of things he'll want to talk to me about for the movie, that movie when he gets back anyway. So on that note, you guys, I think we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up here for Sound and Pound episode 47. We'll roll the
47
music.
weeks, man.
47 weeks. It's actually been like 49. We missed two, I think, but near 50. So all good. Much, much more than that, including my time with Ghost. So, Ghost, I appreciate you so much, man,
For sure,
for
man. Shameless
not
plugs?
just co-hosting. We'll get the shameless plugs coming for sure. But yeah, I just want to say thanks for taking the time here to co-host
man.
and all of the years of support and being my great bestest mod that I've had throughout the community. So yeah, man, shameless plugs. You know how we go. I don't need to tell you how we end the show.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah, so you can follow me on X, or the artist formerly known as Twitter, at 9h6st21_MMA. Also, make sure you sign up to my Substack. So phantompunchbreakdowns.substack.com. All my work for the past few years, like, it's all on there. Like, I treat it like as my notebook, like my open notebook. Shout out to Open Note Grappling.
I was gonna say.
It's my open notebook, like how I study things, what I look at, some film work, like short videos, like anything you can find. It's all organized there. And my YouTube channel, which is just Phantom Punch Breakdowns. and you can find all my animated work on there. So yeah, those are my shameless plugs.
There you go. Great name. I wonder who came up with it.
Yeah,
Anyway. All right, you guys. Of course, yeah. Follow us at @DrakeRiggs_ on Twitter, and then of course the 9H6ST21_ MMA there. Follow us on the Twitter machine. You can follow me on Instagram as well. Follow MMAmania.com on all the platforms. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we go live. As for my shameless plugs, got some interviews coming. Looks like tomorrow and Thursday I got them scheduled, so you can look forward to those coming out, but they won't be out till next week. So look forward to them. But what we got right now is just kind of some older stuff. Spoke to Raina recently. You can check that out. And I guess that'll be the only one that I plugged today.
Kubota?
Yeah, Big Kubota, the Raina Big Kubota. But all right, you guys, on that note, we will send it on home. Hope you have a great weekend, a great rest of your week, all that stuff without the MMA and whatnot. All right, you guys, we will see you. Thank you so much for hanging out.